Hey guys, Survival here. I've got a quick tip for you. If you want an easy and affordable way that is easily repositionable of knowing what's happening on your homestead, simply get yourself one of these. A motion activated outdoor camera. These are sometimes referred to as trail cameras, game cameras. Essentially what they are is a camera with an IR floodlight and a motion sensor. Depending on which one you get will determine both the photo resolution, the distance in which it can take a photo that is usable, of decent quality. A lot claim to go up to 15 meters, not many do. Generally speaking, the more expensive ones have better nighttime capabilities. However, given that you can position them and you don't want to invest in a highly expensive security camera system, if you set several of these up around your homestead, you can very easily negate the need for long distance, high resolution cameras. This one here is 3 megapixels. What's it like on the inside? Well, under these two latches, open it up and you can see you've got a little screen which allows you to configure and preview all your images and to quickly see what's happening out in the field. You've got all your controls. Down the bottom, you'll find this on the majority of the affordable, low-cost cameras, and that is a dial which allows you to set the distance that it's going to operate in. This is effectively adjusting settings as well as focus to allow the camera to have the best chance possible of taking an image accurately at that distance. My advice would be to keep it as short as possible while still getting as much of the area as possible. So you want a good mid-range. You want to be somewhere in the first half to 2/3 of the dial. I wouldn't ever go any further for the simple fact that the low-cost cameras don't do distance well. As you can see here, in the case of this camera, it takes 4 D cells to operate the camera and its internal circuitry, as well as 3 of the C cell batteries to operate the motion sensor. As annoying as it is to have such large batteries, they have the benefit that they can last a lot longer when outdoors exposed to the elements. The camera has a good gasket on it to give some waterproofing, but I would refer to it more as water resistance. On the side of all well-made outdoor cameras, they will have a switch and they will have a connector which will allow it to operate either an internal or an external IR floodlight. And they will have some sort of computer interface or the ability to simply put a card in. This one has both. So you're probably wondering, how do I put this up somewhere? Well, they come with straps which go through these wings on the side, on each side, and if you pretend my arm is a tree, it will be mounted around it like that. There is a channel that's been formed into this camera, allowing you to put a high tensile cable to securely hold this onto a tree to minimize the chance of it being stolen, as well as space for a padlock to deter people from trying to adjust the settings or take the card. At the end of the day, these cameras still have the following flaws. Firstly, they're a plastic body. Feels to be an ABS-like plastic. Could be ABS, maybe something similar. However, the master power switch is on the bottom, in the case of this camera, as well as the port to connect the external IR floodlight. As a result, if someone can physically get to this camera, they can turn it off. As such, I would advise that if you're going to put a camera like this out and you want to minimize the chance of someone stealing it, fabricate using some steel a little frame to go around it and to cover and protect any external power switches and any external floodlight ports. It may seem like a bit of work, but it beats having your camera stolen or destroyed or simply turned off. You can find these online if you shop around from anywhere from $50 US to as much as you're willing to pay. I personally prefer to stick with the more affordable ones, anything in the $50 to $130 range. Prices vary. If I find them cheaper, I pick up a few. Every so often when I'm having a browse on the web, I'll quickly hop onto a website such as eBay, Amazon, simply to see whether these are available and what price. And when I find one at a good price, I pick it up. In a very short amount of time, you can amass quite a large quantity of these. Here on the Homestead, we have 8, all positioned, tucked in, just out of the way, keeping an eye on the property. One thing to keep in mind when you're setting these up is ensure that you're not going to have things such as leaves trigger the sensor. So hiding it like this would be bad. Use the test functionality, or simply set it up, turn it on, and do a few tests of your own. This camera does have a test function. Not all do, but simply set it up, run a few tests. Because the last thing you want to do is set one of these up and have the entire storage space taken up with photos of a branch that's been moving in the breeze. Depending on the quality of the optics and the general build of your outdoor motion activated camera, you may or may not need to provide an external floodlight. It can, however, be helpful, especially when you're going for distance. And remember, stay safe in the bush.